doing. So we're going to open up the floor to a couple of questions from the, nearly 400 people we've got with us today. While a question is being picked, I'm just going to quickly ask each of you, when you think of Chinese food, comfort food, what is it that you think of?
I guess I'll start. Orange chicken.
Okay.
Well, I love dim sum, and we have plenty of places here that are very, very popular. In fact, we feel like we're the heart of the Chinese American food industry. So yeah, people really love Chinese food here.
So I like Meigan Cai Kozo. I don't really know how to say that in English, but that's the dish I like.
For me, it's beef chow fun and the baked tambaos.
Cheap. And
Oh,
best
yeah.
in your taste is cheap.
Fantastic. So I'm checking, everyone's just talking about food now in the chat group. Of course, what do you expect? Okay, here's a great question from Fulton Ho. How do you encourage older generation Chinese or Asian Americans to register to vote or get civically engaged?
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just walk them through it and literally just sit there with them and be like, "Hey, let's register you to vote right now." and then when it's voting time, be like, "Hey, have you voted? Have you sent it in? Like, what do you need help with?" Like if you're able to dedicate that kind of time to someone, then they'll be touched by it and they'll 100% vote. If you don't do that, if you just say, "Hey, do it," then the odds will go down significantly. So just help them with every step of the way. Get the ballot, get it in their hands, fill it out with them. But we need to vote. I mean, the reality is that our community is not the political powerhouse that it has the potential to be because Chinese Americans and Asian Americans vote at lower levels. We also donate money at lower levels. So it's one reason why I'm so proud to be in the presence of Gary and Judy and Ted, because they broke the mold and they did something that's uncommon in our community, which is run for office. And then they won, which is phenomenal. In Gary's case, he won an awful lot. The other people, Judy and Ted, you guys are, you'll win too for a long time. So the reality is that if we're going to have people take us seriously politically, it has to start with voting. And so if you know someone in your community that you think you can help get to vote, then do it. You activate one person, two people, that's worth its weight in gold.
I think part of the the key to getting more Asian Americans, and especially older Asian Americans, to register to vote, number one is having more Asian American candidates run for office, because that creates excitement. Gives them a reason to vote, because they have pride in fellow Asian Americans running for office. Number two, we need more nonprofit social organizations who are the trusted voices in those communities, informing people of the importance of voting and what it means. We simply need to let them know, everybody know, that if we care about the issues in this country, whether it's employment, whether it's public health, whether it's food, whether it's jobs or education, they need to be voting to send their messages to their local elected officials, whether it's the school board, the city council, the state, or the Congress. And as Andrew said, we really just need to go person to person, finding out who is not registered to vote and encouraging them to help them register, actually help them register.
Well, oftentimes we say that this is the most important election ever, but I must tell you that this November election is the most important ever. If we want to change the person who is in the White House, we need to all get out to vote. And that's the message that we need to give to all our Asian Americans, including our elderly Asian Americans. I believe it is that person in the White House who is stoking the flames of xenophobia by calling this the Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus. And as a result, we have had 1,900 hate crimes and hate incidents directed against Asians. It is something that has terrified Asian Americans, created so much fear, and this president has been shameless in doing this. We in KPAC have been fighting this every time he's done that, but we can see now that this is a campaign strategy for people that are followers of President Trump. So this is the most important election. We need to change things as soon as possible. I want to tell you that in Congress, we are working on our CARES 2 bill, and we hope to vote on it next week or the following week. But one important part of it is having monies for vote by mail, and to have it done on a national basis so that we can make sure that people can participate in the election in as democratically a way as possible, but also so that they are healthy and safe. So this is extremely important to make sure that we have a fair election in November, but we also have to, of course, motivate our people and get the message out that this is indeed the most important election ever.
I agree with everything Judy, Andrew, and Gary has said. I just want to make 2 additional points. The Pew Research report came out 2 days ago and said that among eligible voters, Asian Americans are the fastest rising ethnic group. And so we know from last decade's census data that Asian Americans are the fastest rising ethnic group just in terms of population in the United States. And by the way, everyone needs to fill out their census. But now we also know that among eligible voters, that now also holds true. And so this November could be a pivotal moment for the Asian American community. And then second, as Judy has said about mail-in balloting, some states already are doing this by themselves. So California, for example, is going to have essentially mail-in balloting in November. And that's something that if you're not used to it, you do have to get someone to help you walk through it the first time. And to the extent we can get Asian Americans to help other folks who are not familiar with it do the mail-in ballots, that would be very, very helpful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the 4 of you for your wonderful, thoughtful responses. We've had a ton of questions come in, not all about food, but most of them. But besides that, we also saw that clearly a lot of people want to know, the young people want to know how they can get involved with their communities, how they can get involved with civics. And then a lot of people want to know what they can do to increase voters. So I'm just going to suggest now that perhaps UCA should look into this, and we'll have to probably trouble the 4 of you to come help us out with that later on towards the election season.